So if anyone knows me, they know how much I enjoy watching TV shows. I really enjoy. It's like one of my most favorite hobbies. Watching series, watching movies, going to the movies. So I thought today we'll do a fun video and I'll just, take you through one of my favorite series, not one of, like, quite a number of my favorite series. So just some housekeeping before we start. I was reading something recently, and it's crazy the statistics I got that an average human being, they watch like 4 hours of TV, and some 8 hours of TV, usually like some 2 hours before they go to work. Then after work, that's all they're doing. So I'm not promoting that, not to say, I mean, it's bad, to each their own, but I think it's good to have a balance, read a book, invest in your future, do something else with your time, but also get some downtime and watch some TV. So yeah, this is like a light video. I hope you enjoy it, and I really hope you subscribe. It really helps me out and it encourages me to go on. So we'll just get right into it. So the first thing is going to be The 100. Um, it's such a favorite of mine. I think I've watched it like 6 times or so. So basically, like a group of 100 teenagers, yeah, they're all below 18. They're sent down to Earth because before this, the Earth has been uh, inhabitable for over like hundreds of years. I think this is like the third generation which has been living on the ship, which they call an ark. I think a number of ships survived, and then they combined one. So now they are running out of oxygen, and they want to test whether the Earth is survivable. So they send this group of kids who are in the like a jail, kind of like they've done some offenses and they've been locked away. So they figured they would send them down first, and if they were to survive, then they'll consider sending everyone else down. Trust me, if you're into, like, there's like a lot of politics, there's drama. I mean, there are teenagers there, and there's a power struggle. It's thoroughly entertaining. I really recommend it 100%. Then the next would be The Walking Dead, also a favorite of mine. I first watched it 2020, and I just watched the whole marathon. Now the last season is airing. It should be season 11, so this would be a good time to watch it if you have not. Um, as it sounds, like The Walking Dead, like basically something is in the air, which, like, when people die or they're beat, with those who have turned, they also turn. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. So people die. Like, if you're not a fan of like your favorite actors dying or something, don't watch this one. Like, they die, like, it's so sad. But just because of the way they wrote it, you just keep on being glued, and you want to watch more. You want to see what they're able to do, how they make ends meet. So it's not like the best description, but you should really watch it. And the next one will be Dynasty. I'm not sure how many people watch this. I don't hear a lot of people, like, I don't hear a lot of people speaking about it. But if you are all about drama, like, as it says, it's a dynasty, so there's also like power struggle within the family. Okay, I won't say between who and who, but cousins involved, and it's like, it's a true drama. Like, and the next will be On My Block. On My Block, I just love the concept of the TV show, or the series rather. It's a group of kids. It follows a group of kids who live in a certain area, and it just depicts their day to day, the struggles they face. And I feel like it's at the risk of talking, or talking without walking the walk. that kind of thing. I feel like it's a it's a more of, it's closer to reality. um it shows this like they're from different backgrounds. Like I think there's a Spanish background, there's a mixed kid there. It shows, some come from a family where there's a history of, drug lords. It's a really different concept, and I think they did it so well. And not only does it speak to kids growing up in that area, but I think just to kids being kids, growing up, and it follows their life until just before they go to college. The next is going to be like newer shows. When I say new, I mean maybe 2 years or 3 years. The first one will be Outer Banks. I just watched the third season just now. If you're into teenager movies, which I kind of am, like I am into such shows, you'd really enjoy Outer Banks. And if you loved that Tom Holland movie, which is the reason I liked him, I watched it in the movie house. I don't remember the name, but I'll put it on the screen. Yeah, if you're into like treasure hunt, treasure hunt, people from different backgrounds, you should watch this. So basically, Outer Banks, it's an area, right? It's a town, an area where they have those they call the pogs, who are like less privileged, and they work for those they call the cooks, where the wealthy side, they have like, it's it's like an island. So the cooks have the yachts and all that, and the pogs have like, the small boats. And it's it's really an interesting show. You should watch it. Then the next one will be Ginny and Georgia. It follows a mother and a daughter. The mother, she has sacrificed so much to make sure that Georgia, the daughter, lives a better life than she had growing up, and she had at 15. And in the show, and now Georgia is also 15, around the same time, same age when your mother had her. So mother-daughter relationships, it follows that. And I don't want to spoil the show, but also like the past from Ginny's past is also, catching up with Pierre. And you just keep on gasping because you don't think it will go that way. I think in terms of being unique, this show, I would liken it to On My Block. Both of them, like, I just like the angle they took this shows, like it's different and it's really interesting. Then some old timers, I like to call them old timers. I'm not sure about the technical name, but I'm really into these movies where they will shoot in the, like, even they're shoot now, but in the old setting, like in the 90s, in the 1800s, and maybe even in the 1700s. I really enjoy such shows. So I'm going to give you a few of my favorite. The first one will be N with an E. If you're a book lover, maybe you would have read the book. I've not read the book, and I'm not an OG book lover, but I've been reading of late, I think for the past 3 years. So now I have quite of a collection, but I've not read N with an E. But if you have read it, then the books are usually better than the movies. I don't know, but I thoroughly enjoyed the series. So it follows this little girl. She's an orphan. She's adopted into this family of a brother and sister. They own a farm, which is named Green Cables. And this farm or this house is actually there in Canada. So this book, I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong, but the book was also written like by, I think, the great daughter of this. I don't know if it's a true life. I don't think so. I think it's a loose depiction of what happened. But yeah, I know the house is there. It's there in Canada. I think in Prince Edward Island. So yeah, it follows this little girl. She's adopted in this family, and she's adjusting, and she's loving that she now belongs somewhere. Then she's also making friends. She's going to school, I think, for the first time. It's such a lovely story. It's really a lovely, lovely story. You should, I keep saying this, but you should watch it. Then the next one will be When Caused the Heart. Oh, this one broke my heart. It really broke my heart. But it's also Canadian. It seems like all my old timers here are Canadian. I don't know if it's, I could say it's Canadian, but I know it was set up in Canada. It follows this young lady. She moves to a remote area, or like a village, a small town, and she decides to stay and teach, at the local school. And it follows this police officer. Back then, what do they call them? The name is escaping me, but they call them this. So it's a love story. If you are into love stories, it's so heartwarming. Everyone is such a darling. Then the other one will be When Hope Calls. It's also like a spin-off to this, or When the Hope Calls. I'm not sure. The title is it follows like two sisters who were also like, they lost their parents early on, and one got adopted and one didn't. Like, then later in life, they decided to stay together and start an orphanage. So it just shows how they go about on their daily days, trying to make sure that the orphanage stands and all the kids are taken care of. It's really, really such a cool story. I like such movies. It just keeps you in touch with your humanity. It keeps you in touch with what another person, I know it's fiction, but what another person is probably going through, and what it feels like to not be adopted, also what it feels like to be adopted. Then the last on the OD, like I call them old timers, it would be Outlander. Outlander is like, if you've watched, what's the name of this, like, political, I didn't finish it. I tried it, but I could not go through it. But it's very political to a certain extent, and it's also very lovey. It's not like that lovey-dovey which we get from teenager movies. It's like that intense love, the one which they write in the novels, that intense love, the one which can't be explained, the one with passion. Yeah. So how to explain this? Basically, this lady accidentally travels into the past. I know that at this point I might be losing you, but please don't write it off. She meets this guy, and she knows what's going to happen in the future. Oh, and this one is not Canadian. This was done in Scotland. The set is in Scotland. And after watching this series, I really, really want to go to Scotland. Then we moved to Korean. I'm not going to finish this video without recommending a Korean one. So this one is a recent watch. It's called Love and the Moonlight. I don't know. My sister was saying the main characters, they're not popular, but I loved them. The prince, the way he just kept on smiling. It's, as you know, Korean, it's usually a love story. And at the risk of confusing, because I also watched another Korean which I loved and I didn't put here, so I'm going to put it on the screen. So I'm going to describe both. The first one is this prince, he just plays around a lot. He seems like he's not serious. And there's this lady, ever since she grew up, she always like disguised in a boy. The mother never explained why she had to dress like a boy. So she later since got separated from her mother, and before that her dad as well. So she grew up fending for herself, but she kept on dressing like a man. So one thing leads to another. She ends up in the palace. where this prince is also in, and um, yeah, it goes on like that, like that. Yeah, so it's really good. Then the next Korean, I think it's called History. I'm not sure about the name. I don't remember the name, but yeah, it's about this lady. For the first time in the palace, they agree um, that there's going to be female historians. So they agree in the palace that for the first time they're going to have female historians. So they hire like 4 female historians, and it also follows like this: the crowned prince, then the brother of the prince. It's also a love story, with Korean. If you want to feel like those love and those background songs they have, then it is a love story. So you gotta watch that. Then these are like one season shows. I mean, if you are really put off with like shows not being renewed and yet you loved them, then you'd rather not watch these. But they were really good. The first one will be The Recruit. I recently watched it. I don't know if they're going to do a second season. I'll check, but I don't think so. But it's about this law student, and he's really into those, he's like an adrenaline junkie. He's risky. That gives him energy. So he joins like the CTI or CTA, that, yeah. So he joins as a lawyer, and he was put on this task, which ends up him finding some information about the spy was imprisoned, and he has to go and talk to the spy. Then things get intense. He ends up on the field, and mind you, he's not trained to be on the field. He's a lawyer. So yeah, it gets intense, and things happen which we don't think will. So if you are into yeah, there is some fighting there. If you're into all that investigative stuff, you should watch it. It's really, really like good. Then the other one will be The Society. So this one, it follows, it's just a disclaimer, it's not going to be renewed, so keep that in mind. So it's about I have like, my list is so long, and I feel like this video has also been going on for so long. It's called The Society. It follows like a group of kids. They leave their town to go on a trip, and something happens. Then they decide to go back. So once they come back to their town, they find it empty. Yeah, like everyone has disappeared, and it's just so now they have to find a way to survive. I know, you should watch it. And then I don't know, I'm into a lot of things, but of late, I think from 2021, I started really liking like small town movies, those like feel good movies. So they're like my favorite type of movie right now. So I'm just going to speed through them. The first one will be Virgin River, or Virgin River, whatever, according to the flexibility of your tongue. Virgin River, it follows this lady. She's a nurse. She decides to uproot her life and to move to this small town and practice at the local doctor's office. There's like a local like clinic. Yeah. And then it follows a love story. She meets this guy, and she also has a past. Something happens. The guy also has a past in that town. It's really like a very good I'd recommend it number one on my list right now when it comes to like small town movies. Then the second one will be Cheasapeak Shores. Ah, it's for for a moment I was tempted to have kids with this show, because like it follows like a family. The kids are like now all grown up. Everyone is doing their own thing. One is a soldier, I think. One she's like big time in corporate. One is still figuring out. One, she's a writer, so now they they all like come back to the town, and it's just following their lives. It's following their love lives. It also is following their parents and their sweet grandmother. It follows that. It's such a feel good. It's good, like feel good. You really just want to watch it. I really I really enjoyed it. Then the other one is Sweet Magnolias. This one is, I'd say it's about friendship. So if you're really into like friendship, you're big on friendship, it follows those three ladies and their friends. It follows their friendships. They do like these nights, they drink wine and meetups. They're there for each other. They have their kids and their partners. It also like looks into that. One is single, one is divorced, and one is recently divorced, one has been divorced. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Then Dead to Me. Dead to Me is surprising. But Dead to Me is the best way to say oh, the best way, sorry, I can't speak. The best way to describe it is I'm losing light now. I'm losing light. It's surprising, like such a shocker. It starts with a hit and run, and I promise you, what happens after that, you don't expect it. Yeah, you really don't expect it, but it's really good. You should watch it. Then the last one will be Goodgirls. This one is also about friendships. It is like these three friends, two are sisters, and like they're really having financial problems, and they decide to rob a shop, like like a one-time thing, and one thing leads to another. They end up being entangled with this like drug dealer, or I don't know, this shady guy, and their partners don't know. It's following their love lives, it's following what happens in their houses. So it's such a good watch. But yeah, that'll be all. I really hope you enjoyed this fun video. I think after this I'm also going to do like a book recommendation, both audiobooks and like the hardcover books I've read. So if you're interested, please watch that. I really hope you subscribe. It really encourages me to go on. I love you and God loves you more. Bye.